Welcome back to another episode where we teach Derek from zero D365 F&O. Now, in this lesson, we're going to be reviewing Homework 1, which I gave him. But first, he has some questions. What were your questions, Derek?
I made up a little notepad. I've got my homework here, so I try to come prepared as possible. But yeah, I did have a couple questions. So I guess my first one is there are some terms and different things you've said that I feel wouldn't be understood by somebody with zero coding experience. Do you think that someone should take some basic course of anything before starting this?
Well, if they do, it would definitely be helpful to understand it quickly, but I'm assuming since you didn't, we're going to teach you all those concepts. Right now, what I'm trying to do is just get you into the data, and I'm kind of just telling you to type things, and then I'm kind of explaining what it does. And we're going to build from there. So I will be teaching a bunch of those concepts, including the coding concepts, as we're going through the time. So you'll learn the object-oriented programming concepts.
Okay, great. Yeah, and if I did want to dive into code a little bit more, what kind of basic coding course would you recommend? Java or some other type of language?
Yeah, either Java or C Sharp would be the two to look into that shares similar syntax to this.
Okay. Um, I guess my only other question for now, I think I'll learn a lot more as we go along, so I don't want to ask too many right now after the first homework. Maybe I'll have more after the next course, but we'll see. But the only other thing I really wanted to know was how many hours of training do you think it would take before this is usable in a career?
Yeah, so that's really hard to say for what'll get you an actual job because some of them are like made up requirements like certifications. The best way to actually get a job in this is find some place that's going to switch into this software or get lucky and work in a place that's using this software and learn it through there to get the experience. Most people in the consulting firms are usually, unless they have a program to start someone from zero, they're wanting to hire someone with at least 3 years of experience, at least on client side. So it's pretty hard to get in from that. Now, as far as this training goes, some of the concepts I already taught you are kind of the baseline of what you would use for starting to troubleshoot a problem. You would start by figuring out the form that the person's in, right click, go into that, figure out what tables are behind it, and look at the data. My goal with this is to give you a ton of tasks to do, and we'll get into more and more complex things, but they're going to all be real things that people paid me to do. So you'll have that, that's all these little exercises that I'm giving you are either subsets of those problems or building up to those problems. And we'll get into complicated developments like 20+ hour developments eventually that people paid me to do
Okay,
or
sounds
something
good.
similar.
But just a follow-up question that I guess you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that some places would actually hire you and train you further. Do you feel like coding experience just from high school would qualify you for any kind of job, or do you really need further advancement for something like that?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I don't know. In some of the cases, you'll have a little bit, or you'll be in an IT-ish job, like in that, and then they'll acquire it, and they'll just be like, "Oh, you're in IT. Go learn this. We bought this company." Not with very much thought. If it's a structured company who's smarter, then yes, they'd be having specific developers that have probably a college degree or are self-taught and have some level of experience in a
Okay.
different one.
Yeah, so it really kind of depends, but I mean, the big thing that most people are looking for are certifications and such to be able to show that you're qualified to do something, right?
Yeah, just like the degree as well in it. Does it really mean that you could do the job? Same with the certification? No, not exactly. Like the certification doesn't give you a good feel on what you would do in the day to day as a developer, but that's what this course is about. That's how it's going to differ. But it's all about like the college degrees, are really about proving that you could commit and stick to something and at least learn something and that you can learn. That's what it's more useful for, to screen people
Okay.
out.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I appreciate your answers. That's all I have,
Yep.
at least for right now.
We had to restart Derek's whole machine to get him to have internet access. Back on topic.
Sounds good. So we were going into the dashboard. What
Yep.
did you want to see from there?
Yep. So your task was to go into the modules on the left and then go into accounts payable.
Sounds okay.
And then go to all purchase orders.
Yeah. I think the first part was purchase order header record.
Mm-hmm. Yep, well, we're getting there. Okay. And then click on one, whichever one you chose, or just one in general.
I believe it was this one. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure.
And then, so you had two tasks. One is give me this record, the header record for this, and then return these lines. That was the homework.
Okay.
So
Yes, and
let's,
when you said give me the header record, I did not understand exactly what you mean by give me the header record. So I'm
yep,
not sure if I did that part correctly or not. But yeah, we'll see.
yep. So there's two parts to this, which is the header, and then there's the lines. If you click header here,
Right.
then this is the actual header record.
Okay.
And then the lines is that bottom one, and they're in two different tables. So when I'm saying header record, also on that lines form, it says, it gives you a summary at the top where it says purchase order header.
Okay. So you just needed to know this information so you knew where I was looking, pretty much.
Well, I just wanted them to show what I was telling you to do.
Sure.
And then my thoughts are you could then look in SQL and compare that to what this is, and hopefully they say the same thing. Otherwise, you did it wrong. That was my thought.
Gotcha.
So let's go into SQL and show me your queries. And explain to me what you did and why.
Sounds good.
There were other little parts of the homework too, where I
Yeah.
wanted you to query on some sort of range on a specific ID, and then
Yeah.
certain fields, and then change the order. But we'll get into those.
Okay.
So let's start with just the most basic thing. Let's see what you did with the header.
I always have trouble finding this part.
Well, I don't know what you did. So did you do it as a SQL statement? Because you're trying to open a project file or solution, which is not what you probably want. You need to go to file and then open. And then you want just file probably. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right, so I actually commentated homework 1 so it wouldn't take part in the
Okay.
code. So
Hold on, before we get into this, we already have a problem.
okay.
Everything's red. Why do you think everything's red?
I'm sure there's an invalid or error or something with that, which that was actually the first thing I ran into that I had to figure out. And so in my notes, I have right here, I was like, sales table is red. Is it from previous project? Is it made up? What's going on? So I had to select AXDB from the list next to execute because it defaults to master.
Yep, correct.
So
Now,
once I did,
when I had you do it for the other one, when I had you go into the databases, I had you right click on the database and do new query, which will auto change that window into AXDB.
okay. But
I
yeah,
did mention that briefly in the thing.
I definitely spent about probably 10 or 15 minutes just figuring out why the variables weren't lining up and why I couldn't call certain things, but I finally figured it out.
Well, see, there you go. That means you learned some stuff and figured it out. I mean, that's a little bunch of, now you learn that lesson and now you know that.
Yep.
And I'm sure the audience will make that mistake. And I've made that mistake several times, right? Where I
Yeah,
didn't
but
check that.
aren't you proud of me?
or just
You
open it.
asked
Yeah,
why are they red,
I'm
and I was
proud.
able to explain it.
I'm proud. You got it there. There you go. So,
Okay.
all right. Continue.
All right. So I guess the first query I did was just to bring up the table. I had to figure out that the first one we used sales table, so I was kind of going back and forth trying to figure out why we use sales table, what I need to put here. I did rename it as HW1 so that when I had to put it in front of the others it'd be easier. But I figured out you had to go back in and I think on this maybe if I right click and go to form right here there's perch table is the form name, so that's how I figured that out. I think we also had Visual Studio open to be able to go in and look at.
Yeah. Why don't you pop open
So I'm going to
Visual
open
Studio.
that up. Yeah. Should we just go into this or does it matter?
Yeah. Let's just go into that solution. You probably have it still. It'll give you whatever tabs you had open. So whatever you did here. If you did it here. Okay, you didn't, I guess, open it here. All right. So what I expected you to do is go to that form, right click on it, get the name, type perch table in here.
Where at?
In the lot.
On the left side.
Well, I guess you didn't do this then.
Well, it's been a couple days, so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I went into this, but I gotta kind of remember. I gotta jog my memory.
Right. Okay. Why don't you try to do the stuff and I not help you at all? And then if you get stuck, I'll help you.
Okay.
Give you a hint already?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So on that left is the Application Explorer that has all the components. You want to filter in there. So you want to type it in that, type perch table, and then it'll search all the objects. Okay, now go into Forms, which is going to be not under the data types or any of these. Remember, you could use the arrow keys on the keyboard, so you don't have to do that. So just click in one of them. Yep. Click, select one of them. Okay, left arrow on the keyboard. Yep. Use those to expand. Left. No, you don't have to go all the way down. Yeah, you could just do that. Yep.
Actually, that was form.
Yep. Okay. And then you can right click on that and view designer is what you want. View code is going to give you all the code behind it, but we haven't taught you anything about that yet. We'll get there.
Okay.
Now, what are you supposed to do here?
So I did have, I had the purchase table tab up, so I did do something in here. I just couldn't remember how to get back to it though.
Well, when you right click on it, it goes into there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you did or didn't.
Right.
Let me just show you how to get the tabs that you don't see at the top. You see that gear in that center screen? No, up more. Right more, up and right, up.
Oh, here?
Right. Yeah, to the left of that. Press that button. That shows you everything.
Okay.
Including the other tabs. It'll only show you 5 or 6 tabs at the top, but you can have more open.
Okay.
So if you lost it, like when you opened it and then you clicked into a different thing or clicked around, it might have still been in that list. You just couldn't see it in the top tabs.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now what are you supposed to do?
Well, now you got me all turned around, so I'm not sure. Let me see if I can figure it out again. So let's see. I knew that we had to do a select top 10. The asterisk is pulls up all the fields from. I found purchase table through this. I know I pulled this up.
Yep, there you go. That's the list of all the data sources on the form.
Okay. So I went into.
So what I was hoping you did, because you kind of did it, you kind of got there, but not exactly in the way, and you kind of lucked into it. So let me just make sure that you fully understand. Go
Sure.
back to the user interface.
This?
Yep. So in the top area, because it's the purchase header, or on the header tab, yep. Left click on one of those. No, on one of the controls itself. Each of those, that's a header control, but you want the control below it. So let me explain a little bit, which I should have explained this stuff. This is my fault. So it has a little label above it and then the field below it. So you see where it says below discount? Not here.
Okay.
You already
right here.
clicked. Yeah. You should right click there. That gives you the actual control name. So it says control header disk markup disk percent.
I see.
So now let's search that control name. Yeah, one of those.
All right.
Header
So
delivery
header
underscore delivery date. Yeah. Now this may or may not be on the same one because there's a bunch of different ones. Not there. No, in the middle.
Nope. Okay.
Because you're searching on this form itself. So now you put the control name there. Okay.
So this one?
Yep. Right click on it and go to properties. Okay. And then you look at the data source and the field. So see, it's coming from perch table. So that's how you'd figure out, okay, that's the name of the table that's on. Now you can right click on that control. Not there, not in the properties, on the control itself that you selected to do the properties on.
Not on here?
Yep. And you can do that go to table, perch table, to get to the table, to navigate quickly too. So these are all the fields that are in that purchase table that when you do the synchronize operation, you do the build and the sync, and it pushes all these fields to the SQL side.
Gotcha. Yeah, I honestly can't remember if I used. I was thinking I used some of this, but maybe I did not. Maybe I just used just the user interface and this.
I think that
pull things up.
based on what you just did,
Right.
I think you just lucked into perch table by right clicking and found the forename, and then it's like, oh, that must be that.
Well, I mean, you definitely
But if
showed me. You showed me how to do this to find the form name and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I showed you how to do that for the lines, but I didn't show you the top part. So I was hoping you would try to figure that out on your own and kind of.
gotcha.
I didn't exactly show you the difference of this top part.
Okay.
So that's a different section too. But the main takeaway here is like how you could find those data sources, and you could find individual controls and how the data is pulled on them by searching in the middle was the key takeaways I was hoping for.
This Visual Studio is it's a lot to take in. So, I mean, I'll get it figured out eventually, but yeah.
For sure. Well, as we do the coding and navigate, you'll spend a lot of time in here.
Gotcha.
We haven't really gone into the coding at all, looked at the code. I've showed you a very little bit about the table itself and kind of how it's synced, and we did that very basic example. We haven't spent a lot of time in here at all where you'd get comfortable outside of that little Hello World lesson that we did for the first lesson.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to this. Okay. Now, other little comments. You should be naming, if you're going to do the abbreviations, you either shouldn't do them or you should do it something that's meaningful. HW1 doesn't really tell you what it is. So I haven't taught you yet, but what we're going to do is something that's called a join, and it's coming up in a future lesson that we're going to get to pretty soon. So we're going to have both the line table with this table. So like H1, when you look at the specific field, you're going to want to know what it's attached to. So if you name it like H1, H2, whatever, it's not going to help you realize what these tables are.
Okay, yeah, that
wasn't
makes a lot of
exact.
sense. For now, I was
Yeah.
just renaming it for practice, so I did homework 1.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, that
fine
makes a lot
just
of
for
sense. I
practice.
get that.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
So you do like PT or PL, or or you just label it, probably PT, PL when you're joining it, if you want to, or just not rename it and just use the full name. You'll get into really, really long table names that are like 8, 10 words or really long words, and then you definitely want to do it in those cases. But you'd
Yeah,
use the abbreviation of like each letter for each individual word probably for it, so you can at least kind of know what when you're looking at your where clause is going to be like massive with a join clause where it's going to be like 10, 20 lines. So when you're looking at that and trying to make sense of it, doing something like this it's not good. But
okay.
for the purpose of this one, okay, it's fine because we're just having you practice some base components here. All right. So you did get one part that I wasn't sure you were going to get. Why don't you run your query?
Yep, so I've got it all highlighted, so I'm only going to run
Mm-hmm.
this part. So I'm
Okay.
going to execute that. And this brings
Okay.
back pretty much all the fields that...
Yeah. But I wanted you to filter on that purchase order on the form, and you returned 10 records. So
Yeah.
why do you think that happened?
Well, down here I actually did a purchase ID for the next one.
Yeah, for the next one.
Right. I would
You were
just...
supposed to do that there. What does order account do you think? It's a purchase order, so why don't you... What are purchase orders tied to usually? Who's doing it? Or when you're doing a purchase order, what do you
salespeople.
do? No, that would
What do
be
you mean?
a sales order.
Okay.
A purchase order would be to what?
I guess I'm not really sure what you're asking. I mean, it would be
It's a
tied to an
vendor.
order.
It'd be tied to a vendor.
Oh, okay.
That's the vendor's account number.
Okay.
On the sales order side, it would be tied to the customer. Order account would be customer on the sales order side. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah, a little bit, yep.
Okay. So what you basically returned here was every single purchase order for that vendor, which is not what we had on the form. So I was expecting you to filter on purchase ID here.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. I was just trying to pull up kind of a general thing, just like we did on the first one, and then
Yeah.
go a little bit further down after that. So I get that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I had a couple different instructions. I thought instead of doing it all in one query, next time, instead of just doing all one query, like do each step of it if I have the query.
Okay. Yeah, I did a general one at first, and then I kind of added some stuff to it. So yeah, next time I'll do a general one, and then do
Yeah.
another, just copy paste another one down here and add something different to
Just
it.
do every single thing that you did along the way, so I could like look at all of it. I could read code really quickly, so I could just skim the whole thing, and then it lets me know if you had a good thought process or a bad it lets me see into your thought process
Yep.
as you went through it. And then I could identify, is this good or bad? Is this going to get you into trouble later?
Okay. One thing I did have a question about right here is when I was doing order
Yep.
by line number descending, I was
Mm-hmm.
concerned that if I had line number space descending and then comma that it wouldn't understand, but it seemed to just fine. Is that something that could get me in trouble in the future though, or is that normal? Like I was afraid that it
It's
would think descending is what I'm asking for. for the
No,
order?
it knows that it's a space and it knows the keyword.
Okay.
It knows the syntax is order by and then field name and then space, and then it's expecting either nothing, after it, or it's expecting ascending, descending. If you put anything else, put like pickles in place of descending there after line number with no comma. Whatever. I don't know. I like pickle. Whatever word you want. Okay. Now it's not going to like it because it's expecting
Gotcha.
either descending or ascending.
But I mean, you could have literally nothing there and still a space. You could have no space. It doesn't seem to matter, right? And then it'll default
Yes.
to ascending. I do understand that right there, but
Yeah, if you have a space after it, go ahead and run it. It'll get rid of the white space. So it'll treat it like it'll parse it and remove extra spaces afterwards.
okay.
It'll treat it like as if you didn't have the space there. Some languages are dumb and that would make a difference. In this specific one, it's okay, but that might not be true for all languages or all things that we're doing.
Okay.
We're using it as a query language, which is a little bit different than a programming language, but it kind of uses the same concepts. But there's like a parser behind the scenes that takes this and does something with it. So it reads it and then modifies it. So even if you do something, it's actually going to like reorder and come up with its own query of what you write here that optimizes for those indexes that I mentioned briefly in the last one, which is how it's saving records so that it can find them faster.
Okay. Yep. I guess the only other thing is I pretty much, I know I went back into here and kind of looked at some of the different important columns, I guess I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I ran this with an asterisk first just to see all of them, and then I kind of went through and looked at the columns and looked at them to find their names, such as purge quantity, purge price. Made a note of those and then added those up here instead of the asterisk to
Sure.
to
What I was
funnel it
hoping
down.
that you would
Right.
do is go on the user interface.
Okay.
And then I was hoping that you would right click on each of these, go to that, go into Visual Studio and find it from there and see if it existed in the table and add them that way.
So I would have went into Visual Studio and tried to find item name then.
Yeah, you would have filtered on that control. That's on, you're on Perch Table, the table, not Perch Table, the form.
So I need to be here.
Yep, that's the form.
All right. So what's the difference there?
This is a table.
Okay.
Oh, by the
All right.
way,
So we just see them
leave
all
your
as strings here.
leave your cursor there. Hit the X because I don't know that I covered this. Hit that little X. Up by item name to the right, there's an X, which will clear it out. Yep. It'll keep your cursor placement so you could see, like, here's the other fields that are on that same grid. I didn't mention this to you either. This is also why we do these lessons, because then
Yeah.
I hope people watch these homeworks because there's going to just be lots of little things. These are probably even more valuable almost than the lectures. It's just the little intricacies or whatever that you didn't understand that I've explained. So now, what I was hoping was going to happen here, I set you up for some traps. Okay.
Okay.
I was sneaky. I thought you'd face plant a little bit into it. And what I wanted you to notice, because there's multiple things, which we didn't get to, go back to the user interface and see where it says site. And let's right click and form. And so what's that control name? Invent dim grid, invent site ID. Okay. So let's just do invent site ID over on the form.
Invent
You don't have to
site.
type the full. Yeah, invent site ID. Okay. It's that line view details below that, I believe. I think it's that one. Now, what I want you to tell me is, where is this field? And what table?
We should probably go to properties. And
Yeah, you could also remember when I told you, when you right click before that properties to get the actual table, you could if you want to get to the table, you can just right click and then go to the table as well. But yes, you should look
say
at
that
data
again, I
source
guess,
here.
or what could I do
Yeah,
instead?
right click there.
Right here. Okay.
Yeah, if you do it, and then remember, go to
Go to
table,
table.
invent dim. Yeah, so that'll tell you, if you just glance at it when you right click on it, without it going to the properties, it'll tell you what the table is, if there is a table.
Okay. I'm gonna close that perch table one too. But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, so our data field is invent site ID and data source is invent dim.
Uh-huh.
So they have a custom display name, so they renamed it pretty much. Is that what this is going on here?
No. No, that's just, no, they didn't in that case. That field just matches, I think you can rename it of how it displays there, but
Okay.
usually, I think that overrides the name. I've actually never used that property. I think it auto copies whatever the name is into that field. I'm not sure if you even can change that.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I was hoping that you'd find is this is invent dim, invent site ID. And then you'd look and you'd see the sales line and you go, we didn't talk about this at all. What the heck is going on here? So, anyways, I was sneaky and set you up for that
Gotcha.
a little bit. But what's happening is a join. We have in that data sources a bunch of joins are going on, thing I didn't teach you. And on the grid, you can have multiple data sources in groups on the grid, is what I wanted you to realize on the form. So if you click the X button there, like I showed you in the middle.
Yep. Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Clear search.
Yep. So see, they have like the storage dimension groups, and above that's product dimensions. These are different tabs. Actually, that's not the place that you were on. This is a different tab that it was on. That you can have the same field reference with the same group and multiple times on it. Each control will have a different name.
Okay.
So that one's inventory. I just had you type invent site ID, not the full name. But we would have got only that one if we typed the full name. But it's quite a mouthful. Go back to
so there could be other invent site IDs in these other groups as well. Possibly.
Yeah, that's a.
Yep.
Yes, you can have the field in multiple places on it because some of these forms are set up for different views. So if it has like the summary view, go back to the user interface. So a good example here is like the lines. That top section that says perch order header, this is like a summary of some stuff you're going to want to know.
Okay.
If you click on the header from lines to header, no, above that.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to flip it into the header view. This is also going to have those ones that were on the line view plus extra fields on it. So it's referencing the same field multiple times, but the control names are different. And I might have just confused you more, but that's okay. It'll eventually make sense because I'm going to have you build a form from scratch or try to duplicate this form from scratch and then mess with it. And so but we're 10 lessons away from that, okay? We're working towards that.
Yeah.
Right now, what I'm just trying to do is have you kind of look at this and then kind of understand and then just do basic queries into getting the data out. But you did a bunch of the things that you were supposed to do, which is realize that you're supposed to put USMF in here because that's an easy thing. Now, in your second query, I don't see that though.
Yeah, I probably assumed that it pulled it from this, even though I didn't select that. So if I just run this by
Yeah. So
itself,
if you,
how?
yeah. So if you run that and then you compare this, you got 6 lines. But if you look over on the form, you have 4
Yeah,
lines.
so it's pulling one from something else. I did not catch that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
go add the sales ID into there and the data area ID into your fields. See if you remember how to do that. No, that would be filtering. I want you to add the fields and what's going to appear.
Add. I don't understand, I guess.
I want you to select those fields, not filter on the fields right now, just so
So
you could
just
see the
select them.
data. Yeah, well, keep what you have and add those to it. The sales ID, or sorry, purchase ID.
I mean, I have purchase ID right here.
That's in a where clause. You're not displaying it on the grid of the output.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want you to display me the purchase ID and the data area ID plus what you're displaying, just so you could look at the data.
And what other?
Data area ID.
Okay. Yeah, so a couple of these are from a different company.
Mm-hmm. So the purchase ID is pulled from a number sequence, and different companies can use the same purchase ID. Now, what you're looking on the form, it automatically adds that USMF filter into it. When you're trying to get the equivalent from SQL, you have to add that in on every single query and every single join to get the equivalent.
Okay. So should I just have another where for a filter to do that, or what?
You tell me.
I mean, that's what I would assume. Just, but maybe it doesn't like to. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
it's
cannot. You
incorrect.
can't do you can't do multiple wheres. Use the where keyword 2 times for a certain table. Doesn't like it.
Okay.
So if you want multiple conditions, how do you do that?
Maybe just hit and
Mm-hmm.
then see what we got. Okay.
Yep.
So we just
So
need
now
to
you're
add another
filtering on.
filter with and. Can we add a third
Mm-hmm.
filter with another and
Mm-hmm.
if we needed to? Okay. Gotcha.
And we'll be talking about that. That's in the next lesson. We're going to be going to that in excruciating detail.
Okay.
So let's fix your first one really quick. Your
This one?
header. Yep. So that should have been what instead of the order account? What should you have used for your second filter?
All right. So it shows all this.
Yeah,
Instead
let's
of order
remove.
account.
Yeah, go ahead and remove the top 10
Okay.
and run it. I did tell you to add that in, by the way, as part of the homework, but I just want you to run that. Okay, there. That's funny. There actually only was 10. I don't know how that worked out exactly, but I thought there might be more
Yeah.
on that
Gotcha.
order account. But
So we
okay.
needed to go by purchase ID instead and put the 00.
Yes.
And then this should just pull up the one account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And then, so now if you look in the user interface, go to the header tab, and then you look at that, and side by side it with the SQL statement, you should see those fields.
Okay.
Probably on the grid, or most of them. And then if you go down to the lines, or switch back to lines, and you look at this and compare it to your lines query, your bottom query, if you run that, you should see the fields from there that you pulled.
Yep.
Where it matches. Right?
Yep. So now we have 4 lines which match this. And it's all from this company and this purchase ID. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what you could do is look back and forth to kind of, as you're learning this. So the dead giveaway there should have been, okay, I looked at the form has 4, I returned 6 records, right?
Yeah.
And like, why? What I'm trying to teach you is like little checks, like logical checks as you go. So as you're building up, you could go, okay, I did something wrong. What did I do wrong?
Now I'm pretty sure you just ignore it and go on to the next thing, right?
Hey, many people do, and they somehow have 6-figure jobs. I don't know why, but someone hired them. So. All right, I think we'll end this little homework lesson. You can see us in the next episode where we're going to continue on and learn more about SQL.